Sup team. I played UnderTale Just Us recently. It is absolutely the most clever take on UnderTale I've ever seen. Its gameplay isn't even the UnderTale style, no, it's off style. I don't know anything about off, but I can tell it's just 1-to-1, and it's incredible. It makes the events of UnderTale actually kind of make sense. Sans strategically chooses to begin his massacre during Giftmas, Snowdin's Christmas, so that all of Snowdin's residents are out and about, and so the Royal Guard and even Asgore are conveniently there, keeping watch, or in Asgore's case, being Santa. And it's, oh my god, it's awesome. You methodically kill all of Snowdin in an optimal order that you craft yourself after carefully studying every single one of their daily routines like a psycho. It's awesome. But in playing such a fantastic, unique fan game, I couldn't help but think about the old days. I mean, I just couldn't help myself. We've come so far, it's ridiculous. We're operating in entirely different styles now, and even the official Deltarune game does that now. Of course, Just Us isn't the only modern fan game that is absolutely fantastic. Both games from the Out of Control Fan Game Jam back in July, Underswap Reckoning, Doghole Dungeon, all the stupidly hard ones and more. All these games are the culmination of a decade's worth of innovation and, dare I say, perfection. I sound like I'm a tech bro talking about AI or something, but trust me, this is about UnderTale fan games. So, how did we get here? There's gotta be some kind of method to our madness, right? Well, I'm here talking to you now, making this video, so yes, there is! There are a set of foundational concepts that fan games subconsciously follow in my eyes, but we have forgotten the pioneers behind those concepts. I see absolutely nobody to talk about the games I've got lined up today, so I ask that you once again take my hand as I guide you through educated New Gendom, my New Gen team. 3 classic fan games that only the oldest of old heads will know about, ranging from the textbook to the terrifying. Let's dive right in. These are foundational, forgotten UnderTale fan games. First, Before we get into this one though, y'all gotta know some light UnderTale fan game ball knowledge. Back in the days of yore, fan games were primarily created using UnderTale, a Unity-based engine. We then moved to create your Frisk, which was an evolution of UnderTale that used Lua, and we've only evolved since then. All of these fan games were created on UnderTale or CYF. Pretty neat. Save Goat Bro is one of the many examples of what I will call a UnderTale gem. It takes place right after the underground re-enters the surface world in True Pacifist. Frisk makes the brave decision to go back down into the underground just to rescue Flowey. After seeing his true nature as Azrael, he cannot be left behind. But Flowey finds this stupid. He doesn't have a soul and can't be saved. We need to get that through our brains. He acts like he still feels the warmth of the underground's love after the Azrael fight, but it's a trap to kill Frisk like any other time. And that leads us into the main objective of Save Goat Bro. Breaking Flowey's kill or be killed mentality in half, and it is done excellently. As Flowey tries harder and harder to get Frisk to leave them alone, cracks begin to form in his beliefs. Save Goat Bro also sets out to be an alternative to Flowey's genocide-ending lore dump, at least a little bit. Flowey explains how he wasn't able to feel anything when approaching Toriel or Asgore, so how would he be able to do it now? How would we ever make him care about someone if his own parents couldn't? That's where Goat Bro pokes flaws into Flowey's character in a super clever way. Even though he says he wants to kill you so that you leave him alone more and more throughout the fight, he also evidently doesn't want to kill you. Some of his most desperate attempts at giving you the boot are him genuinely just healing you to full HP and trying to shove you away. And then it all culminates in his dialogue before his final attack. All I need to do is to make you give up so I never hurt you again. I will glaze Goat Bro until the day I die. This is absolute genius on display. Fire writing. After describing his failure to feel love toward Toriel and Asgore, Flowey begins making excuses for why he can't go up to the surface after we persist, already showing some cracks. He says that he'll hurt everyone again, whether he wants to or not. But we are literally a stubborn little baby and persist, and as Flowey keeps having to make excuses, he eventually talks himself into a corner and breaks his entire logic naturally. He does care about Frisk. It just took some finagling for him to reveal it, and it's so smart, and I genuinely have not seen a pacifist Flowey fight done like this since. Now that isn't to say we haven't done his character justice. Literally justice! Because Undertale Yellow is a prime example, but what I mean is that GoatBro mastered the concept of a true pacifist Flowey fight by giving him closure outside of the ending with Asriel. While we were able to save Asriel with Frisk's infectious kindness, we weren't able to save Flowey. Asriel admitted that he turned back into Flowey after we left the underground, a brutal revelation for any true pacifist player. GoatBro is able to expand on this using Flowey's own spiel, telling us to let Frisk be happy. Flowey does care about Frisk after True Pacifist, but since they're never able to directly see each other again, there's no room for growth from that point, in-game. GoatBro cleverly fills that gap with cool attacks to boot. I mean, for its time, reversing blue with orange and green with white bullets was generational, okay? This might have been the first take on an orange soul mode ever, actually. Kinda nuts. The writing and concept as a whole are way more iconic than the attacks, though. They nailed Flowey's character by making him naturally, procedurally realize his own flaws, and it's great. I can confidently say that this game is generational because it is one of, if not the most influential example of fans expanding on vanilla Undertale besides hard mode. Another prominent example I can think of is this ancient Grilby fight. Oh, wait. Oh my god. The Grilby fight came out months before GoatBro. My bad. I just don't want to talk about the Grilby fight because it's not nearly as interesting, but whoever came up with the reverse Megalovania being his fight theme, it's Cartrino 130 by the way, was moving like prime Mozart, and whoever gave him this much aura for no reason was moving like prime Picasso. Anyway, my point with GoatBro is that it was a huge inspiration for fan-made Undertale expansions, as it made super high-quality stuff, with what, especially today, is really low-hanging fruit story-wise. This is one of those foundational concepts. The other fan game that inspired this the most was Alphys Neo for sure, but she warrants her own video. But literally any Undertale fan game that expands on any route of the game while staying in universe was indirectly influenced by this pioneer of a game. Hashtag remember GoatBro. Gotta give it 9 golden Ashtons out of 10.
Sarah, battle with a think tank.
Another generational Undertale fan game principle is having multiple endings. Lots and lots of endings, in fact. Old fan games on YouTube are a prime example of how crucial this was. Take Alphys Neo for example. The official upload of the fight by Burazu has almost 3 million views, while a recording of the game with true ending in the title has over triple that amount. Murg's old videos are also a prime example of this, cause his first playthrough of Your Battle, 1.3 million views, but his upload of the ending, almost double. It's You, It's Me, 1 million. It's You, It's Me, secret ending, exclamation mark, over triple. Goonerbait, less than a tenth of that. My bad. My point is that fan games with a bunch of endings were all the rage 5 to 9 years ago. I'd say the most generational example of a fan game that ushered in this ending craze was Battle Against a Think Tank, more commonly known just as Sarab, the opponent's name. Funnily enough, Sarab likely spawned from the polished OC fan game that was Undertale Red, but Red is not forgotten. It just got a fan-made remake. I ain't gonna talk about it. To put it in perspective, Sarab was literally marketed as the boss fight with tons of endings and got millions of views total because of that. And to its credit, it did have tons of endings. It had a dozen! For crying out loud, a dozen! Most games today can't even boast that without making them like filler. And to preface again, this is another Unitale gem. Technically. It was upgraded to create your Frisk 6 years ago, but the game was originally released on Unitale in August 2016. I was so confused when I saw most videos of the game being from only 6 years ago, because I could have sworn it was before that time, but now it makes sense. Just clearing up any confusion, because I was sure confused myself. We will get into it later, don't worry. Sarab is an OC monster that has taken you in for studying. Actually, honestly, I think the best way to go about this is to briefly tell you about all the endings. Thankfully, the game has an endings counter to help us out. This is how serious this shit gets. Thanks, endings counter.
No problem, my compatriot.
Ending 1. If you spam doing absolutely nothing by sparing or checking, then Sarab spills the beans since you were nice to him. He's taken you in for study because humans are super rare in the underground and he wants to make a breakthrough. His first test is seeing how resilient you are by attacking and sometimes healing you, but if you manage to die here, he ends the fight in disappointment and sends you on your way. Ending 2. If you choose to attack Sarab during the first branch, Sarab stops the fight and wants to test your limits as a violent human. By the way, I'm going to call these things branches because different endings can lead into even more endings. It's insane. So I'm going to call them branches rather than phases. But anyway, Sarab offers to gather some ass-kicking gear to test your limits, but if you choose to kill him before he's able to, he dies calling you an itty-bitty little baby. Ending 3. If you talk to Sarab, he'll call you stupid again unless you concentrate and study a formula he's given you for like 5 turns or something. Once you figure that out, he spills the beans in the same way as before, but now offers to subdue you in battle. You gotta run into these yellow, harmless bullets to be put under his anesthesia. Before you go to sleep, Sarab makes sure to put you in a safe chamber for testing and start at OGG plays for some reason. You'll soon see that this game tries to cover all of those classic beats. Ending 4. If you go back to the anesthesia branch but take as much damage as possible, since there are a few stray white bullets, Sarab will stop the battle at 1 HP. Contrary to what that jerk usually does, he glazes your shit and lets you go because your will for freedom is too strong to contain. Ending 5. Go back to ending 4 since the fight doesn't actually end immediately. I lied, sorry. Ending 4 only stops when you choose to spare him, but this is if you betrayal kill him. He is all confused during his death speech, as if he didn't call my hair atrocious a few minutes ago. Ending 6. Choose to fight Sarab right before the fight gets harder. That happens if you attack him enough, by the way. Right before he switches up, though, listen to his warnings and keep sparing him again. Get him to say his ending 1 dialogue, and then switch up again for a 3rd time to psych him out. He then proceeds to glaze you again, and drops that he knew Gaster because, sure, man. And with that, my friends, you have unlocked a whole new talk branch where act turns into talk, and you can inquire Sarab about wings, dings, and such. Sarab works presumably with that same group Sans mentions in his fight. He calls you the anomaly and says he's ahead of the same quantum physics group, and he's actually jealous of Gaster. Ever since Bro made the core, Sarab's wanted to one-up him science fair style, but he stopped caring about that a while ago. He did make cooler blasters, though. Once you're done talking to Sarab, you've reached the end of the branch and can choose to stay or leave. If you stay, Sarab is really happy. Oh my god. Ending 7. I'm leaving. Get me the hell out of here, dude. Cry all you want. Ending 8. I meant what I said. Do not do that shit again, man. Ending 9. Go back to Anesthesia Branch and kill him, but not by catching him off guard. Just hack and slash, then he goes down and scolds you again. Ending 10. There's this rhubarb item that about doubles your attack power. Play as if you're getting ending 2 up until you deal that last blow. Not the final betrayal kill blow, but the blow right before he even mentions testing you. This lets you skip that entirely and kill him even more off his guard than before. Genuinely, such a cool detail. Like, the creativity and attention to detail is off the charts here, team. Ending 11. Spam the zombie act until maggots crawl out of your skin and you manifest zombification before Sarab one-taps you with a pea shooter or something. Ending 12. This one. This is the big one. The iconic ending that everybody knows. Go back to the end of the main branch as you would with ending 2. Spare Sarab taking up on his offer. He goes to gear up and he has aura? is this aura? Maybe he thinks it's aura. I don't know. I trust whatever he thinks. He looks pretty smart. This is the challenge Sarab had in store back during ending 2. An uber difficult genocide ending, where you can't even damage him due to his frankly cartoonish mask. That thing is so absurd that it is officially called the mask ending by the dev, by the way. Comical stuff. I'll subject you to the most diabolical of contraptions. This sounds so funny and I don't know why. Actually, I take back what I said. Sarab absolutely has aura here. He says he uses his special attack, but then says... That was a joke. A fib. I feel the aura coursing through my veins. I feel like this ending was meant to be absurd because it is, man. There's no way around it. We aren't even in a genocide route, but Sarab frames it like we are actively at level fucking 20 or something. It's strange. It's strange. His special attack is genuinely cool as hell, though, but it ends with a stray bullet hitting him in his face. The fight ends with Sarab making peace with us as he lets us leave, acknowledging that he can't beat us. I could have sworn that there was a 13th ending when I was a kid, but I guess there's not. I gaslit myself. For 5 years. Neat. Anyway, I know I kind of poked fun at Think Tank, but it is genuinely a phenomenal fan game. While it does kind of feel like the insert OC that happens to know everything, but with Sarab's knowledge of timeline and Gaster and stuff, I appreciate that the game goes out of its way to explain everything Sarab does and knows. It's not over-detailed for no reason. Sarab has his stereotypical blasters because he tried to one-up actual Gaster blasters, and while he does know a lot about timelines and us as the anomaly, he's captured us to research ways to break the barrier and or advance monster kind. That's a realistic goal for an Undertale character to have. It's obvious how Sarab was a pioneer for the multi-ending standard. For Christ's sake, he's got 12 of them! Even the ones that don't take themselves as seriously, like ending 6 with its diddlish smile, is confirmed to be a joke. But those endings have merit to them. And then there's ones like ending 10, that don't even need to exist but do and are still really clever, and give insight into Sarab's character. This might honestly still be the only single battle fan game with this many endings. I don't know how to even fact check that, but just feels right. I say this, but I can't even think of any fan games that Sarab's had much direct or indirect impact on, even though it was released 9 years ago. I think this is because it didn't really pop off until 6 years ago, when it upgraded to creature Frisk, prompting Merg to play it. Whew. Merg was the Markiplier of our time. If that man played your fan game, you were put on the map. It still confuses me to my core how this didn't pop off as a UnderTale fan game alone, though. UnderTale gems had been popping off for a while at that point, so what happened to Sarab? I don't know. I think I just got unlucky. It feels wrong to not call Sarab a pioneer of the multi-ending fan game when it is undoubtedly known for it. 8 golden hashtags.
It's you, it's me.
I mentioned DustTale Just Us earlier. That game's pretty freaking creepy, dude. I mentioned Reckoning too. That game also gets pretty freaking creepy by the end, dude. Freaking creepy, dude. I think that we have nigh perfected horror in Undertale fan games, but just like everything else, there's gotta be some foundational principles that trickle down into these. And believe me, there are. Your Battle was the first scary fan game to my knowledge, releasing 9 years ago, but that's not what we're talking about. I was going to talk about Your Battle initially, but the ending, I forgot how bad the ending was, I'm sorry. The ending to Your Battle pisses me off and kills the whole vibe and ruins it for me. Made me so angry that I scrapped talking about it entirely. I remember this shit being so tough with 2 Fs as a kid. What happened? They threw all the disturbing elements out the window by the end, mostly, just to make an insert OC Omega Flowey clone. It's not interesting to talk about, sadly. I wish it was. But the second big scary fan game is what I actually want to talk about. It's you, it's me. This released in January 2017, so it's just on the cusp of being 9 years old. Wait, holy shit, hold on. Oh, sorry, but it's January 5th as of writing the script. It's the fan game's 9th birthday. It is 9 years old now. Holy shit, that's cool, hell yeah. This game is still really disturbing. You fight you, but sometimes you become that you. You start as me and the title swaps back and forth. You become you while being attacked and me while taking your turn. When you attack you, you both take damage. You can endlessly run to increase your speed for a turn, or you can pray to make the paintbrush attack heal you without healing you.
Why is he not there?
Using items heals both of y'all, by the way. The main ending of the fight actually takes some really good strategy. A weird looking foot stomps down on you and sets you to 1 HP later on in the fight, signaling progress and opting you to strategically pray as you whittle you down. While your mercy option is gone at the start of the fight, there is a secret route to get it back. If you keep checking you, this orange text starts talking to you, telling you that you can't be saved and that this is a fool's errand of sorts. It gets really angry if you persist, making the attacks harder and giving you shards of your mercy button back. You can eventually build it up and use it, but if you want you to live, you have to flee. Sparing actually kills you and you, killing you both. The voice calls you foolish for doing this. Rude. If you flee, you can go into the overworld and faintly see you. That's how you looks, by the way. We'll get into it later. Continue walking and you meet the face behind the voice. This godlike thing that plays by its own rules puts you into a grueling bullet hell where your only option is to dash into its face, damaging it. Do this 3 times and the goon goes down, but you're given the option to fight or spare it. Psych, not really. Both options kill the thing. Again. Great. Cool stuff. I'm glossing over what happens in the game itself because It's You, It's Me is way more known for the questions surrounding it. What in the Lord's name is going on here? Discussion around what it meant died a long time ago, but even back in the day, we didn't really know what it was about. We could point out what it was referencing, but I couldn't find any examples of someone actually attempting to fully describe what's going on here.
Wait, whoa. Referencing?
Yeah, referencing. It becomes obvious once you know it, but not many people spoke about this back in the day. You? Like, the thing that you're fighting? You? You'll never guess where it's from. It's from goddamn Tool! Yeah, look, it's straight up from Tool's prison sex music video. With mentioning that, I, on a serious note, gotta put up a content warning. There will be mentions of child sexual assault. Big switch up, I know, but that's just the nature of this music video, and understanding the music video's themes is crucial for understanding this fan game. That isn't to say the fan game actually has those same themes, but Prison provides necessary framework for understanding it, so skip to this timestamp, take care of yourselves, let's get into it. Prison is about the cycle of sexual abuse that can be caused by assault. At the song's turning point, do unto you now what has been done to me, do unto you now what has been done, the robot victim, which is what looks like you, starts perpetuating the cycle of abuse caused by this creature, the song's main antagonist. The robot twists lines it used to console itself as a victim, now using them while looking down upon a fly they've captured, their own metaphorical victim. I think. There's a second one at the end that I think gets crushed by the robot's foot. I think. I think. The cycle is set in stone at the end, when the robot uses the same paintbrush the creature used to leave invisible imprints on it to paint itself black, just like the creature. Truthfully, this video is even more confusing than It's You, It's Me, but what matters is the central theme of the perpetuating cycle of abuse. Now, you may be asking, yeah, sure, we fight the robot from Prison. We're in the same place as Prison, but all the attacks seem super unrelated, and there's no way these would even remotely share the same themes. You'd be wrong, my dear team. It's You, It's Me reuses so many of the same symbols from Prison and its attacks, it's ridiculous. That paintbrush that I mentioned, it's an attack. The creature's journal that may symbolize it taking a page out of its own abuser's book, an attack. The fly in the jar, attack. The tiles in the walls poking out sometimes, attack. The creature's gross hands, attacks plural. The foot, the most crucial attack in the entire game. I'd go as far as to say that the god entity during the final secret phase is the creature. At least what the robot turns into. Little addendum here real quick. Yes, it is. I don't know why I didn't think it was a good idea to install the game and check the files before recording this, but this is the full sprite of it, and it's, by the way, it's not called the god, it's called it. I just call it the god because I didn't know it had a name, but this is called it. So anytime I call it god, just disregard. But this is what it fully looks like, and yeah, now that I can see its Zomball's ass head, yes, this is the creature. It is at least undoubtedly meant to symbolize one of the two creatures in the video. Just letting you know that. Continue. I think the robot turns into this. I really don't know. But that's where there's even more confusion, and where I begin to have my own doubts that this game takes a lot after Prison's themes. The creature isn't some godlike entity, although you could argue that in a metaphorical sense with how much control it has over the situation. It doesn't rewrite the rules of the world itself and have red scanner eyes or shoot lasers out of its hands, and at the very start of the battle, you can see the robot's legs dangling on the wall, just like in the music video. But those legs don't mean anything for It's You, It's Me. While in Prison, they show the robot's lack of control compared to the more mobile creature. So what gives? I'm going to do what none have done, and try to finally figure out what the hell is going on in this game. Knowing what Prison is about, and that It's You reuses many of its symbols, I believe It's You, It's Me is an adaptation of Prison's themes to fit Undertale's own themes. Unlike in the music video, It's You represents the unstoppable cycle of violence that comes from Undertale's genocide route, or at least the mentality of it. This is why you start the fight at level 20, and why every ending in the game involves killing you or the god. The god is not you, by the way. This thing I mentioned earlier is you, and I know that for sure because it's the case in the very first teaser for It's You, which has an intro cutscene that never made it in the final game, showing exactly this. The reason you constantly swap between you and me parallels the ending of Prison, where the robot basically becomes the creature and inflicts pain on a new victim that looks like it. I'm just gonna call it the worm. I don't know what else to call it. In It's You, you play as the past version of yourself fighting the present, corrupting them with literal violent tendencies. I want to make it very clear that these violent tendencies are probably meant to be taken literally, because again, it has to do with Undertale's themes. Of course, you could easily interpret this as a violence or something else, whether it be domestic violence or assault like in Prison, but I'm fairly confident it's literal Undertale-style violence because of the game's game troll description. Will you kill, or will you seek another way out? While this quote does imply the cycle I proposed exists, it does make the careful choice to say kill. Not hurt, corrupt, especially not hurt. Hurt would have been a big one, but kill. This implies literal violence. Just wanted to clear that up. The god gets so angry during the quote-unquote mercy ending and calls you foolish because this god parallels the creature influencing the robot's mind. This is why the attacks are important. When you choose to pray so that you can heal, the only attack that can appear to heal you is the paintbrush. The same paintbrush that is used as a symbol of the creature's corruption in Prison. So, as you pray, you are praying to this god, unknowingly ramping up how it affects your mind with violent urges. The paintbrush paints you with these influences, hence why it heals you, and hence why praying is only a truly necessary strategy in the main ending where you and you both die. I think it's also a very deliberate choice for Yu's face to fall off as it dies. This parallels the end of Prison, where the creature takes off this same part of the robot's face to make an imprint on its very mind. This solves everything but the final ending. What happens there? Is the cycle broken or not? No. The screen itself breaking in two symbolizes a change in perspective that the game cannot represent. As you slash the god's controlling hand, you now have become the god. This is why, even though the god is weak and seemingly has no control over your actions for once, mercy still kills. In Prison, the robot doing unto others what has been done to it gives it a sense of comfort. In It's You, fighting is all you've ever known. It is the only mercy that you know. This is why You collapses like Robot does in the music video whenever it attacks. You also only knows violence and finds the same twisted solace in it that you do and that Robot does, dissociating with it. The violent cycle will sadly continue, and from what we get to see, it'll never stop. Whew, that was a lot more to unpack than Goat Bro and Sarah. My bad. This is why I've been itching to talk about It's You, It's Me for ages. But I just now realized that I can do that now. Incredible fan game. Oh, I don't even know a rating. 13 golden apples. Looking back, this is still probably, no, definitely is my favorite fan game of all time, and that's not just out of nostalgia. I only discovered what it actually meant right now. I had no idea it was related to prison, and now that I do, it is one of the most well-crafted stories I think any fan game has ever pulled off to this day. All that while still managing to stay disturbing. I feel confident in saying that It's You, It's Me is the pinnacle of a disturbing quote-unquote horror fan games. It holds our final foundational principle. Just really generalized. Scary ones! This is art. Psychological horror such as this trickle down to inspire future horror projects and ones after that until we've reached the modern day with the likes of DustTale Just Us, among others. See how I linked it all back? Oh, this is a stroke of genius. Self-glaze be damned. With that, I hope this was educational for you all. Once again, just to make sure, I ask that you comment New Gen no more if you've gotten this far. Even if you aren't a New Gen, I hope I gave you closure on It's You, It's Me. That game is the entire reason I wanted to make this video, seriously. I wanted to finally figure out what the game's about, and I realized that I'm not a baby boy watching Prime Merg. I'm not a baby boy watching Prime Merg anymore, and have the brain capacity to do it. Actually, you know what would be cool? If we all put our heads together and remade these UnderTale gems. You know what? I'm gonna shoot in the dark here. In the slim chance that the original developers are watching this. Your games are so cool, man. If you guys were to ever even consider remastering these, I would play the shit out of it. That would be dope. I would promote them. I would do whatever needs to be done for It's You, It's Me with a fresh coat of paint, okay? Oh, man. I'm getting giddy thinking about it, but I think we're basically done here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want more. I would greatly appreciate it. And also make sure to like and comment, and if you so choose, if you want updates, join the Discord server. And if you want shoutouts, or but more generally just support me, then you should consider channel memberships. Whoa, said that really weird with a weird lisp, but channel memberships for $2.99. Absolutely no pressure. YouTube made it an option, so it's there. It's there. But just subscribe for more. But anyway, Rube 70 Digest. The microphone. Kinda still sucks. The pop filter didn't do anything. I mean, I don't know what I expected. It was like a 5-pack. They were $1 a pop off Amazon. Like the whole thing was $5. I don't really know what I expected. I mean, it's a little bit better, but I was hoping it would deal with the mouth sounds, but it just hasn't. But I think the mouth sounds are my fault. I don't know how the fuck to stop. I try and drink a lot. I drink a lot of water as is, so I don't know what the issue is. But maybe I'll try eating apples or something. I was up watching The Grove, and they said eating apples helps or something, and it seemed to be true. So gonna try that next week. Gonna try it, see if there's a genuine difference. Gonna scarf down an apple. But anyway. Oh yeah, fan mail. Fan mail. Submit fan mail if you would so choose. That would be really, really fun and or funny. And yeah, subscribe, Discord server, Banjan Basement, Bind Bit, Bayonara. Ooh, new slang, Bayonara.